for adults only. It contains details of crimes against children. Viewer discretion is advised. If you haven't yet, please hit the like, subscribe and share. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you're all having a wonderful day and that things are going really well for you today. First of all, I want to welcome everybody, and then I want to get into having a little chat about this young lady. Messiah Harris is a girl who I didn't know a huge amount about her case until a couple of weeks ago, and it's piqued my curiosity for a number of reasons, but the main one is that there are three very high profile cases at the moment that I think have got many different things happening with them, but they all share the fact that the young girl has been groomed by a family member and then is no longer with us. And those cases, of course, are Maddie Soto's case, Ayana, and Messiah Harris. So today I want to talk about Messiah Harris. The picture that's on the screen at the moment is the last one that was ever taken. On the morning of the 9th of January of 2024, so a little over a year ago, she went to school, taken by her grandmother, Annette Harris, who is also her guardian, legal guardian. She attended school for the day. During the day, she took this photograph with her school-issued tablet, and then she got the bus home, got off the bus, is seen on CCTV from a house walking past, which turns the wrong way onto Bedford Drive and in Detroit. And then she's never seen again. Now, there is a significant amount of evidence that's been collected and a case that's been built by the police. They no longer believe that this beautiful, innocent young girl is with us. And that's at the hands of a man, if we can call him that, called Jarvis Butts, who is 42 years of age and is a member of her extended family. So he is the father of 5 children with Messiah's aunt, Shannon. And I'll go into the background of the family in a little bit more detail after we've done what we're looking at today. So he has now been charged with unaliving her and SA between September 2022 and January 2024. There is clear indications from various sources that the SA went on for a lot longer. He came into Messiah's life when she was 2 years old, and it's highly likely that this started with grooming her pretty much from the get-go. And the reason that I say that is because of the history of Mr. Butts. So at the moment, he's facing further charges as well as the charges regarding Messiah. And those charges relate to SA of 2 other victims who were minors at the time. One was 7 at the time. I'm not sure how old the other one was. They're now 7 and 20. No, 11 and 20, sorry. So they're the current charges. He's also a registered sex offender and has been since 2005, when he was convicted of SA of a 13-year-old girl by full intercourse, and he served a 7-year sentence. So he was released in the end, given that there were other charges involved in 2014, I think. And shortly after that became involved with Shannon Harris, Nazia's aunt. There is also testimony that was given at the preliminary hearing in this case earlier this month from a 9-year-old cousin of Nazia who indicated that he had attempted to essay her and that she had witnessed him doing so to both Nazia and one of her other cousins, who was also 9. And there is reference by the prosecutor to previous assaults on a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old daughter of one of his girlfriends, to whom he gave chlamydia. Now that's a present that we can all not get behind. When Shannon became involved with Mr. Butts, he told her that he was a registered sex offender and about his past. And she, in her wisdom at that stage, she was 19 at the time, decided that everybody deserves a second chance. Now, there is indications that being a PDF file might run in that family. And so if she's grown up in an environment where it's normalised that there is sexualised behaviour that's entirely inappropriate amongst various members of the family, then maybe that's why she thought it was worth giving him a second chance. I'm not sure. But what I can say for certain is this. If, as a woman, you ignore red flags about people who you invite into your life, you are putting your children, your future children, and any children in your extended family at risk. If you ignore red flags about domestic violence, you are putting your own life at risk. And I say this because once you are involved in that relationship, it is very hard to leave. But if you don't ignore the red flags at the beginning, and so don't get involved with these people, there's nothing to leave. And you will remain safe, and so does everybody in your family. So if anything can come from what has happened to Nazia, I hope, with all hope, that it makes people understand that you need to pay attention to who you're letting into your life and who you're letting around your children. Now, earlier this month, there was a preliminary hearing that lasted 4 days. There was a lot of witness testimony. The officer in the case had to go through all of the extremely upsetting and graphic X-rated text messages from this man and between him and Nazia. This poor girl was then criticised for her conduct, with people not understanding that she has been groomed to act in that way. She knows not that it is wrong. That's the point. These adults who do this grooming work to a good standard, sad to say that that's a phrase that I would use, mean that the kids don't understand they're doing anything wrong. It's totally normal in their eyes, especially if you live in a family where it's completely normalised, which seems to be the case here. Now, Nazaya was failed by everybody around her, including CPS and the school and family members, amongst others. And the judge in this case, Aliyah Sabri, gave what I can only describe as the most impressive, emotive judgment that I've heard in a very long time, if ever. And I've heard quite a lot of judgments, given that it's my day-to-day job. But I want to go through that with you at some point because it says everything that needs to be said. My plan for the case is to look at today the charging decision press release document that came out in September of 2024 from the prosecutor Kim Worthy. Then we'll look at the family background and I'll try and make as much sense of it as I can for you. I still don't completely understand it. It is so convoluted, but we'll give it a go. Then we'll look at the timeline of the offences, which is really key, obviously, to understanding what happened and how it happened and why it happened. Then we'll look at the judgment first when we look at the preliminary hearing, because my ADHD brain says I want to get to the best bit first. Then we'll go back over some of the testimony that was given, and we'll talk about what was in those text messages. So without further ado, let's get this poor excuse of a man off your screen and look at a little bit more of Nazaya before we then look at the charging document. So what does this document tell us? Came out from the prosecuting office on the 27th of September, and I'm just going to read it for you. So it's charges issue in the homicide of Nazaya Harris. Today, Jarvis Raymond Butts, aka Jarvis Raymond Butts, 41, of Detroit, has been charged with the homicide of Nazaya Harris, who is 13 years of age and who is also of Detroit. At the time of her disappearance on January the 9th of 2024, the body of Nazaya has never been found. The Detroit Police Department conducted a comprehensive investigation, which included witness statements, surveillance video, numerous documents, phone extractions, police reports, and medical records. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office reviewed 111 gigabytes of video, 506 gigabytes of phone extractions, 19 gigabytes of documents. Now, I can tell you from working large cases that where you've got a big volume of evidence, it is extremely time consuming to make sense of what you've gathered. So they've done an amazing job. The overwhelming evidence in this case leads to the tragic conclusion that Nazaya was unalived by defendant Butts. And then it goes on to a summary of the case. On the 9th of January 24, Nazaya went missing. She was reported missing on that date by Annette Harris. That isn't actually accurate. She reported it the following morning to the school police, not to the actual police department. She was reported missing on that date by Annette Harris, her adoptive mother, who is also her biological grandmother, when she didn't come home from school. She had never gone missing from school before. The Detroit Public Schools Police Department investigated the case until early February of 24, when it was turned over to the Detroit Police Department's Missing Persons and Homicide Unit. So what had happened was the grandmother, Annette, went to school on the 10th of January and spoke to the principal and the school police. And they held it for near on a month, assuming that Naziah was just a runaway. Now, when you think about the amount of times that you will have heard, particularly if you're a true crime aficionado, about the importance of the first 24 hours after a person goes missing or is subject to victimization by way of violence or unaliving, imagine how far behind the police were when they started investigating a month later. Had they have known about this right from the word get-go, there's a fair chance that we would be in a position now where we know where Naziah is. She's been recovered and we can understand exactly what happened. But the police were playing catch up. That's the top and bottom of it. So let's get back to the document. Events of January the 9th, 2024. Naziah took the school bus to school, which differs slightly from the testimony that Annette gave, which is that she always drops the children off. She had her hair in 2 braided puffballs, clear framed glasses, and she was wearing a white sweater with a black jacket over it, so a black hoodie, essentially zipped hoodie, and a colourful Rugrats puffy jacket with a fur-lined hood. She had on light blue jeans and Nike trainers, which were white, red, and either blue or black. I can't quite tell from the pictures that I've seen. There is a video of Naziah getting on the school bus. Naziah used a DPS-issued tablet that she used to communicate and communicated with an app. She took one last picture of herself on that tablet, which is the one that we saw before. You can see her with the braided puffballs that are absolutely gorgeous and cute, and somewhat belies the reality of her situation where she was being forced to be a grown-up when she clearly wasn't and shouldn't have had to have been. Using her tablet, she sent a message to a device associated with Jarvis Butts, indicating that they would be meeting up after she got out of school that day. And what she actually said was, "Don't forget to meet me after school." So I think they must have discussed meeting up prior to that. There is a video of her getting out of school at the end of the day in the same clothes. And there's actually a video of her getting off the bus, walking away from the bus stop. And there is footage on the bus as well. She meets up with Butts and a co-worker, which is Cordell Wright, and goes back to the auto repair shop on Connor Street in Detroit. Now, that auto repair shop is a joint venture between Jarvis Butts and Cordell Wright. There are some allegations circulating on social media that it's a front for a more nefarious business, which wouldn't surprise me. But that's where they both worked. Naziah was seen by Jarvis Butt's sister at the shop. But the co-worker and Naziah were together in the co-worker's car when they went to Ypsilanti and then returned to the shop on Connor. Butt's phone places him at these locations. That isn't quite accurate either. When we look at the evidence that came out during the hearing, Butts and Naziah travelled in a red Jaguar that they were returning to Ypsilanti. Cordell Wright followed in his truck. They then all returned in Cordell Wright's truck with Jarvis driving. At 9:30 p.m. to 12:20 p.m, Butts checked into a motel. That's the Park Crest Motel at 20,000 Harper Avenue. There is a receipt confirming this, as well as his phone placing him at the location. Naziah was never seen again after January the 9th, 2024. More complete facts and evidence in the case will be introduced on the record in court. And then we move on to Butt's inappropriate relationship with Naziah prior to January the 9th, 2024. The DPD investigation revealed that Jarvis Butts was well known to Naziah because he is the father of children with Naziah's biological aunt, that's Shannon. It is alleged that Butts sent Naziah multiple texts of a sexually explicit nature beginning in September of 2022. In return, she sent him explicit photographs of herself. It is alleged that in September 2023, she texted Butts that she has not had her period, and in November 2023, the evidence shows that Butts knows that she is pregnant. His phone records show that he searches online about abortions, abortion pills, and whether drinking red antifreeze would work to abort a fetus. On January the 10th, 2024, it is alleged that Butts was in the Rouge River area in Detroit. The clothing Naziah was last seen wearing was found in this same area. More complete facts and evidence in the case will be introduced on the court record. What I can say is that those clothes included the black hoodie, which was very ripped and torn and covered in both Naziah and Butts' blood. A pink jumpsuit, which she wasn't seen wearing on the footage during the day, but it was a lycra bodysuit jumpsuit that could have been used under a clothes to smooth out a bump, or because it was really cold. It was January, remember? Or she might have changed into it. It also included, wrapped up in the jumpsuit was one of her shoes, and the other one was nearby. It didn't include the Rugrats coat. The jumpsuit also had Naziah's blood on it. So back to the document. Factors supporting that Naziah is deceased. Naziah's school records show no previous record of unexcused or unexplained absences. She was active on social media before January the 9th. There is no new activity after January the 9th, 24. She has had no contact with family or friends since January 24. She did not have any medical issues that would cause a life-threatening medical emergency. An area known to Butts near the Rouge River around 7 Milenberg Road in Detroit was searched by the police. That included Detroit Police Department, the Michigan State Police, the FBI, the US Marshals, and other law enforcement agencies. As a result, clothing was found and identified that is consistent with the clothing Naziah was wearing on the day she went missing. There was damage to a piece of clothing found that could indicate a struggle. That would be the black hoodie. More complete facts and evidence in the case will be introduced on the record in court. Charges for Jarvis Raymond Butts, aka Jarvis Raymond Butts. Butts has been charged with first-degree premeditated unaliving, maximum penalty life in prison without parole, child SA activity, maximum penalty 20 years, and criminal sexual conduct second degree, where the victim is a person under 13 and the defendant is 17 or older. Maximum penalty 15 years. Statement of Prosecutor Kim Worthy. The evidence in this case will clearly show that the defendant's alleged actions were beyond predatory. They were vulturous. He groomed and preyed upon Naziah with expertise. We will prove that he killed young Naziah after he found out she was pregnant at 13 with his child. Arraignment information. Defendant Butts was remanded to jail. The next probable cause conference is on the 4th of October 2024, and the preliminary examination is on October the 10th, 2024, before Judge Aaliyah Sabri. Please request a photograph of the defendant from the Detroit Police Department. The charges are allegations, and defendants are presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty. So that's the end of that document. Which gives, I think, a reasonable explanation of what the case is about. But it's so much more. And I know they talk about the preliminary hearing being October. It wasn't. It was deferred until January 2025. So it's only a couple of weeks ago that the hearing happened. And as I say, it was live streamed, so we can look at that. Let's put Naziah back up here because you don't want to look at my face in full glory. So let's leave that there for today. And then tomorrow we'll have a look at the family background and the family tree. And I will say it is very difficult to understand who's who and what's what, but we'll give it a good go. So let's just have a quick look through these slides because I think there are a couple of important pictures that you probably want to see. I suspect most people will understand a little bit about this case already, but for those that are new to it and want to see who Naziah was and who's involved in this, these are all pictures of this amazing little girl who had everything to live for and could have been anything and done anything, and who had that stolen away from her. This is Naziah walking from the school bus at the end of the day on the 9th of January, and we can see that she's got the Rugrats coat on. She's still got a light blue jeans on. This is the coat, the Rugrats coat. This is a photograph taken from a TikTok video, which I'll try and play for you next time, which kind of demonstrates it would have been very difficult not to know as a family member that she was pregnant. This, again, is a picture of her, which you can see the shape of her bump just poking out here. This is Grandma, Annette. And then here we've got two pictures of the same three people. So this is Annette in the middle. This is Shannon. And this is Marquita, who is Shannon's twin sister. And then this is the sorry excuse of a man that is known as Jarvis Butts. And we can see here that he's got his RSO information that was also from Michigan. This image here is quite disturbing. It is of him going to a daddy-daughter dance with one of his daughters by Shannon. So this RSO was sent by Shannon into a school dance full of young girls of the right age that we know that he's attracted to. The mind absolutely boggles. This is him. And that's it for the photographs. So next time we'll have a look at who the family are, who's who, how they're all connected, and we'll try and make sense of it. And then if we've got time after that, we will have a look at the timeline of the offences, or we might do that as a part 3. It's been lovely to see you all today, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Have a lovely evening or day, whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you next time. It just remains for me to say, look after yourselves and each other. And if you see something happening, please, for the love of God, say something. Try and let's avoid anything like this happening to any other little girl.